Hey guys, have you ever felt like granular synthesis is a cool concept, but it can be hard to actually use in your music? Well, Output has a plugin called Portal, that essentially makes the entire process simpler, more musical, and a little bit less abstract, so you can put all of those beautiful sounds that it has to offer to good use. Now, there are some specific situations that granular synthesis excels in, and that's what I want to go over today, are some tips and tricks that you can use to inspire new songs or just spice up the ones that you've already got. If that sounds good to you, let's get into it. One thing I love about manipulating these tiny segments of audio like you do with granular synthesis is that it gives your beat an ethereal sort of otherworldly quality that makes it unique from just reverb and delay alone. The real key though is that you need to make sure that there's room in your mix and room in your beat for the listener to absorb that mood. And there's no greater space in the mix than when you start a brand new project, right? So that's what we're gonna do. So this is what it looks like when you first open Portal. And pretty typically these days you'll get a couple of macros, a couple of big knobs that control several different things from within the plugin. That's exactly what these two knobs are for. And then when you move them, you get a little visual feedback for what's happening, depending upon what the macros are actually linked to within the plugin. Now, when you go to this bottom tab here, you get access to all of the more detailed controls inside of Portal. Now, I'm not gonna go over what every single one of these does, but what I love about this plugin is that the top three knobs, the offset, the density, and the size, those are gonna be the money-making knobs. Those are gonna control, I think, what are the most substantial parts of each sound is. So in front of us here, we've got a number of controls about how large we want the tiny segments of audio to be, what pitch we want them to be. We've got a little grain delay that we can add on top of it. And we've also got a couple of envelopes or LFOs that we can use to assign to any of these knobs. And of course, we can assign any of those knobs to our two macros here to make everything easier and control things all at once. But we've also got a little effects tab here, and we can add a couple of effects to our sound, like delay, reverb. There's also some chorus, phasers. And then crucially, we've also got some compression available on the master, which is nice because when you're dealing with grains and delays, things can tend to stack up pretty quickly and not get out of hand, but just get pretty crazy. Now, one of my favorite ways to use this plugin is just from a blank project like we've got right now to inspire the rest of the beat. And so what I recommend doing is playing into the plugin. So either using a guitar or using your keyboard with MIDI from a sound that you've already loaded up and just playing into it. And the advantage there is that you get to adjust your playing to the way that the plugin is responding. And that's a really nice way to start the song off with the type of expression that you're after. The cool part about doing this too is that the sound that you start with can be as simple as you want. Like I could literally start with just a sine wave here. It's just completely transformed into something so much more complex and interesting and, dare I say, beautiful. What I like to do though instead is, I'm a guitar player, so I like to play live into Portal just to start things off. So let's do a little bit of that. What I'd recommend you do just to start with is scroll through some of the presets and play along with it until you find something that you kind of like. Starting with a preset is actually really nice because a lot of this work has already been done for you and you can tame it down if you want to. So let me give you an example of what this sounds like. And if you're not careful, you can sit here for hours and hours and hours. Seriously. Now, to get the most out of this plugin too, I'd recommend playing stuff that's a little bit longer or slower or mellower, because if you play stuff that's fast, it's just gonna be it's gonna smear together and it's gonna be a little bit of a mess. So I'd recommend that you take it slow, take it easy, and just treat it almost like you would with a pad. So obviously we're not just limited to using Portal on a guitar or like a keys sound. We can actually use it on drums too. And this is something I like to do to spice up maybe what's otherwise considered to be sort of a basic beat. So my favorite way to use it is to just get my drum loop going, like my drum bus here. So nothing too crazy happening here, but the idea is that we're going to record the output once we've put Portal on our drums bus, and it's going to be 100% wet. And then we're going to go through and we're going to comp our favorite little bits and pieces from different presets to spice up what we've got for our drum pattern here. So I've got this preset called Space Drag going right now, and let's hear what that's doing. So let's say we kind of like that. What I'm going to do is set a track. I have this one called Portal. It's set to resample mode so I can record the output of the mix bus into a new track here. So all I'm going to do is just get a pass going from this preset. It's going to sound a little crazy. Maybe we'll set that aside and let's find a different preset and we'll do it again. So when you do this a few times, what you end up with is a few tracks that you can choose from. And like I said, comp together something that's kind of interesting to you. If I did that for this track, maybe I like some of these sounds here. And you don't have to use all of this, of course, but they're just like little ideas that you can pick through. So let's listen to it in context with the drums now. Woo! So it's got a little bit more spice and flavor now. If you prefer working with just a single drum track too and just putting Portal on that, you can totally do that too. But I like to have everything in there all at once so it has more to draw from and I can get little crazy results out of it. The other thing that I really like to use Portal and granular synthesis in general for is B sections or verse sections. I always recommend starting with the busiest part of the beat and then kind of breaking everything down from there and filling your song out. So if you're at that stage, then try this out. Like when everything breaks down into the verse section, like I've got here, like I'll just play this little bit for you here and you can see where it starts to come in. A little bit on the boring side, I think. I would recommend putting a Portal track on there, and I also actually have a low pass filter going too, just to make it sound a little bit darker and create more room for the vocals, which is something I like to do. I like to design things from the foundation to help support the vocals later on down the line. So if we hear this kind of transition to the next part, I'll show you what I did with Portal here. And already the chord progression kind of has that ethereal feeling to it, to me. And so a really good way to support that is to use Portal for it. You know, a little bit of granular synthesis action on this part. And then when you bring everything back in, you can kind of automate Portal off and bring everything back in. And one other thing I want to leave you guys with too is that just have some fun with the plugin too and with granular synthesis in general. Like I've gotten some amazingly unique sounds from making all kinds of crazy decisions within Portal and within those types of plugins. So definitely try it out, especially on stuff that is otherwise plain that you really want to like just take to the next level with a little bit of complexity and craziness. So yeah, those are like my top go-to favorite ways of using granular synthesis in your beats in a practical sense. But I'd love to know how you guys use it. Do you use it in your beats often? Or is it something that you want to start including? Let me know down below. Happy music making, and we'll see you in the next video. Peace.